Gaslighting is one of the most crazy making feelings that you can have when you're in a toxic relationship of having someone telling you that they didn't do something that they did do, having someone who is fighting to change your version of reality and confusing you to all ends. I want to talk to you today about how gaslighting starts to erode your sense of reality and to use several examples just to help paint more of a picture of what gaslighting is. So, we're going to be talking through at least 5 different examples today of gaslighting, what it looks like, maybe some common phrases that actually come out of it so that you can start identifying it. So, you can start seeing and understanding wait a second, this person is actually starting to gaslight me in this moment. If y'all are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness of narcissistic abuse and to break people free of being stuck in toxic relationships. If you're in a relationship today and you're not sure, how do I leave? Is it okay if I leave? Is he the narcissist? Am I the narcissist? If all these questions are confusing you right now, we would love to be able to help you. You can go to rawmotivations.com, click on the Clarity Challenge. It's one of the best ways for you to start moving forward in your healing, growth, and change to find the person that you're actually called to be versus the person that he said you are and that you're stuck with for such a long period of time that's not actually you. So when we move into this piece of gaslighting, it typically is this aspect where you are completely confused about what is the actual reality. Typically, it's the narcissist who's trying to change the reality that you've been in or that you've seen. Sometimes you'll hear this referred to as a narcissist rewriting history. When we talk about rewriting, we talk about, hey, they're taking what was true in the past and they're changing it to something that was false. So you saw something happen in the past and they're like, no, that didn't happen. It was something completely different, making you question and doubt your judgment, making you doubt what you saw, making you doubt what you heard. This is where gaslighting takes it from lying to actual psychological manipulation, where the narcissist is not just saying, no, that didn't happen. They're trying to convince you that your version of it, your reality, the things that you perceived, that you saw, that you thought, that you heard were no longer real. But instead, you're the crazy one. You're the one that's making stuff up. And it really messes with your thought process, your mindset, and your reality in so many different ways. So when we talk through this aspect of gaslighting, first one I want to talk to you about is denying something that just clearly happened. Like, it clearly happened, they clearly said it, they clearly did it, and they completely look at you and be like, I didn't do it. I didn't say that. Like, think of it like this. Like, he might deny something that he said. I've used an example before of a wife and her husband that were in conversation at the kitchen. And in the kitchen, they were talking through stuff, and he said something. He said a phrase that she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. And he was like, what? I didn't say that. And she went back and she played on the security cameras that were on for some reason. She played the video on the iPad that ran the security cameras in the kitchen, and he said that exact phrase. But he's like, what are you talking about? I didn't say that. With so much certainty, with so much conviction that she was like, okay, maybe he actually did. Maybe I'm interpreting it wrong. Maybe I'm hearing it wrong. She had to take the iPad to other people and play the video for them to actually tell her, no, he actually said this. Because the narcissist will go to a place where they will deny everything. They'll deny something they said, they'll deny something they did, even if there's clear evidence showing, hey, this actually happened. No, it didn't. What are you talking about? Okay, for example, they might just say, I never did that. You don't know what you're talking about. Why are you bringing this up? That did not happen. When you know that it did. Okay, so a narcissist oftentimes is going to deny something that clearly happened. You might have evidence of it. Doesn't matter. Narcissist can't be wrong. He can't look bad. So as a result, he's going to do anything he can to be able to get away from it, to be able to avoid that feeling that he actually did something wrong. Next one. Trivializing your feelings. A lot of times a gaslighter, a toxic person, is going to minimize your feelings, make you feel like your feelings, your emotional reactions are too big. You probably have already heard this of someone telling you like, hey, you're just overreacting. You're too sensitive, to make you doubt the validity that you actually have even emotions that you can share with this person or that you're allowed to have emotions. Sometimes people that come into Raw Motivations and start working through just their healing process run into this fact of like, oh, I can actually feel because I thought feeling was bad. I thought emotions were bad because I was told that they were bad, maybe from childhood or maybe from the relationship. A lot of times you will have a toxic person that will trivialize how you feel, that will put you down. Sometimes belittling you, sometimes make you feel small, but this aspect of like, hey, I need to minimize your emotions. Now, some of the stuff I've been realizing just in my own personal journey is a lot of times when I would want to minimize someone else's emotions, it typically was because I was afraid to deal with my own. I didn't want to actually deal with my own feelings, my own emotions. So as a result, I had to shut other people's down. So I didn't have to acknowledge what they were going through. I didn't have to acknowledge what I put them through. And I didn't have to acknowledge how I felt about that. Even recently, my wife and I, we've been working through different things, understanding, hey, when I feel uncomfortable around her expressing emotion, it's not always because she's expressing emotion. It's because it's bringing up stuff that I have to deal with inside of emotion that I haven't dealt with, or different pieces that I haven't worked through yet. So a lot of times you'll have a narcissist that will use this to a negative way of trivializing and making your emotions, your feelings seem small, minimizing them so that they don't actually matter. But it's another piece that happens inside gaslight. Next one I want to talk about is shifting the blame. Okay, because gaslighters oftentimes want to deflect responsibility for their actions onto the other person. Can't be my fault. It has to be your fault. Maybe it can even be our fault. Okay, the only difference between a narcissist saying it is your fault and it's our fault is just dropping the why. But nothing's actually changed. Nothing's actually different. Narcissists will take your fault, will repackage it to make it look nicer as our fault, and it'll still be the same package of shit that they're giving you no matter what. Because at the end of the day, the narcissist is like, how do I do this to get away from having responsibility in this moment? Now, sometimes that shift of responsibility will be completely on you. You made me do this. It's your fault that I acted this way. If you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have abused you. If you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have lied to you. I wouldn't have cheated on you. It's your fault. Have you ever heard that? A lot of times narcissists will try to flip it around and make it feel like it is your fault for his actions, for his choices. The whole point of this part of the deflecting and shifting the blame back onto you is to make you feel guilty, to make you feel responsible for his behavior, to make you feel like it's because of you that he did the things he did. If you were better, then he wouldn't have done it. If you were good enough, then he wouldn't have done it. All this is a power play. It's a way to get control over you so that you stay subservient to him, so you still become his slave. So he's still able to do the things that he wants to do because you have to work on it. You have to be better for him. Shifting the blame onto you only puts you in a place of guilt and shame that you did something wrong when it had nothing to do with you. This is one of the hardest things is people get out of a toxic relationship and they don't know how to be able to function sometimes because they're so used to blaming themselves for the other person's choices. So another one is narcissists with gaslighting. A lot of times they're going to do this to just protect their behavior. Like accusing the victim, accusing like you of having these behaviors, of having these motives for the things that they're even guilty of. A lot of times we'll talk about this as projecting their behavior onto someone else. Like narcissists will accuse you of something that they're actually doing. For example, if he's cheating, he might be accusing you of being unfaithful, accusing you of, oh, who are you actually sleeping with? Who are you stepping out with? Oh, were you talking to your boyfriend today? Like all different types of things. And so you need to be able to understand a lot of times a narcissist will confuse and will project different things onto you that you're like, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even apply. But he's still trying to do that to be able to confuse your reality, to twist it enough so you're spending so much time defending it, you're not actually looking at the reality of the situation, which is that you're stuck in a toxic environment and you're not getting free because he's keeping you stuck in the confusion and in the fog. Last one I want to talk about is this aspect of holding a double standard. Narcissists do this a ton, but especially when we step into gaslighting, they're holding a different set of standards for themselves and for you. They might say, hey, you never do anything right, or you're always making these mistakes while ignoring their own faults. Ignoring the things that they're doing, but then making sure that you feel responsible for your problems. Have you seen this? where the narcissist calls you out for one thing, but then you can't call them out for anything else. Like you try to be able to hold him accountable and never going to happen. But as soon as you make one tiny slip up, hey, it's your fault. We need to talk about this. We need to work through this and try to be able to fix you. Hopefully you're going to see just different examples that apply to you when we talk through gaslighting. It's confusing. It's manipulation. There's a lot of reality bending and shifting that happens inside this reality of narcissists gaslighting you. Have these happen. If any of these have resonated with you, please leave a comment down below to let people know that they're not alone, that there's other people struggling with this at the same time. If you're currently going through this and you're like, I don't know how to actually be free, please go to rawmotivations.com. rawmotivations.com today. You can sign up for the Clarity Challenge. You can see like multiple people that have graduated from that have been able to break free mentally and emotionally from this toxic person. They've been able to find clarity and truth in understanding the facts of the situation versus the gaslighted reality that they've been stuck under for such a long period of time. If I could be of any help, please reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com today.